Hey guys, welcome back to the YouTube channel. In the following video, I sit down with Tom Burnside and we talk all things copywriting, storytelling, and marketing online using video. I also mentioned a powerful method called the Baloney copywriting strategy that combines storytelling with your marketing message that will allow you to resonate and effectively communicate with your audience regardless of niche, regardless of your story, regardless of your background. So stay tuned for that. I'm sure you find it very valuable. So enjoy the interview with Tom Burnside. Cheers.
So, welcome, Anthony Nung. Thanks for coming on.
Thanks for having me, Tom.
So, you're a Facebook marketing expert, and why don't you start by telling us a little bit about your story?
Yeah, sure. So my journey kind of starts about 2 years ago. So I was in sort of the second year of my university degree, studying a Bachelor of Commerce, doing marketing at Deakin University. At the time, I found myself heavily unsatisfied, unfulfilled with sort of the trajectory of my career and where it was going. So that's when I started, to take a step back and start asking myself some hard hitting questions. What I wanted my life to look like in 2 years, 5 years, 10 years down the line from where I was currently at. So I started to really lean into my childhood curiosities, interests, and that was in filmmaking, video editing, due to like my heavy interest in YouTubers, like the OG YouTubers back in the day, and just seeing like how like the influence they had through the skits or just like the 2 minute, 3 minute videos that they were making online. So I think that was the first sort of indication that combining content, video with sort of marketing and advertising early on. I think that's where that sort of sparked my curiosity in the marketing space and the business world, by combining like content online. So from there, I started delving into a lot of YouTube tutorials on video editing, how to use video to market products, how to sell online. And then about 6 months into that research phase, I started reaching out to a few local businesses. I ended up getting a casual job at a pop-up store selling ice cream. Pretty dull job, but then I spoke to the owner and was like, are you guys advertising on Instagram, or are you guys doing much content on Instagram? Because their brand had such like a really fun, vibrant sort of vibe, really bright colors. I was like, this is sort of perfect for social media, Instagram. And then from there, I started managing their social media channels, grew their follower base, started helping them create content, and then eventually I ended up signing them as a client. That was my first proper client, first sort of paid work from like video and sort of like marketing in general. So that's when I started to realize I could actually turn all the sort of knowledge that I sort of accumulated from the last 6 months and turn that into a service. So yeah, that's how I started. That was about a year, just over a year now, and now I've continued that. And now I'm sort of focusing on my creative agency. So I work with a few videographers here in Melbourne, where they shoot and produce the content, and then I use that video content, and then I set up paid media campaigns on social media for businesses, and then we use that to generate brand awareness, drive leads, and then convert them, and ultimately leads to sales. So that's where we're at the moment. So yeah, really exciting times.
Great. So, your passion is sort of video, and you've found a niche for yourself in the digital marketing space, doing video, right?
Yeah.
Okay. And so, what are your thoughts about doing video ads?
I think right now it's probably, really, really prime time to be leveraging video as part of your organic or paid marketing campaigns, because video just makes up so much of the web traffic online, especially the consumer traffic. Because I don't know if you've heard the stat before, but I think it's over 80% of consumer web traffic online right now was made up of video. YouTube being the second largest search engine behind Google. Especially right now in the climate that we're in, everyone's online, everyone's watching videos on TikTok, everyone's watching Gordon Ramsay videos, MasterChef videos on Facebook Watch. Videos everywhere you go. I'm sure if you scroll down your Instagram feed or your Facebook feed, 1 in every 2 or 1 in every 3 pieces of content will be video. And the thing is,
doing ads on TikTok, because it's pretty hot right now, but isn't it the average age, like, I don't know the average age, but it's probably below 20. So.
Yeah, definitely. Like the main demo on TikTok right now is still that 16 to that 14 to 18-year-old range. In terms of like ads on TikTok right now, it's still very early, still very premature. So I guess the cost benefit won't be as high compared to Facebook and Instagram, but in terms of just like an awareness play, I think it's like you said, TikTok's really hot right now. So just by putting your brand in front of the future consumers, I think it's a pretty like interesting space to look into. But the thing is with TikTok and with any sort of video ads that you're running on social media, you have to make it native to the feed. It can't be so pushy and so salesy. So
you have to make it fun.
Yeah, because on TikTok, I'm not sure if you've used TikTok recently, but a lot of the users I've spoken to is as soon as they see an ad, it's just an instant swipe because they can tell it's an ad straight off the bat. Whereas for example, if you just make a TikTok with the intent of making it for the platform and then using that as an ad, that's going to perform a lot more better if you come from the perspective of running it as an ad first. So using the trending music, using text overlays, using relevant hashtags at the time, that's going to like help you a lot if you're running ads for sure.
I suppose as a digital marketer, it's a good idea to at least try it. Like
100%.
Same thing with Amazon ads. Like I haven't done it myself, but like I hear Amazon ads are becoming more important. So it's probably a good idea just to like try doing it yourself, just so if that client comes to you and like, they have like some product for like 16-year-olds or something, then like you can say, look, I've done a TikTok ad.
Yeah.
And this is how it works. So I can do it for you.
Exactly. Right. And that's the game for us digital marketers. We sort of have a moral obligation for ourselves and our clients to understand these platforms, both new and old. If, for example, if you, like you did, you came up to me and you said, should I be running ads on TikTok? What are your thoughts? And once, a prospect asks me that, I'll be in a position and be prepared to, advise them on whether or not it's viable or not based on their target demographic or their current consumer base. So I think we have a responsibility, all of us as marketers and, online sort of business owners to know these things, because at the end of the day, we need to sort of keep a pulse on where the attention's at online. Right.
Yeah, exactly. The attention. So some people say ads don't work. So what's your response to that? Like, for example, Facebook ads, like they've tried to do some Facebook ads themselves and they've gotten like a terrible ROI.
Yeah.
And they've just,
I hear it all the time.
And me too. And they just say like, people don't use ads, people don't click ads. So do you have a response to that?
100%. So like even recently on Friday, I spoke to a local restaurant owner. He does sort of Italian food, pizza, and I asked him like, what were you doing for advertising? Like, what are you doing in terms of like Facebook ads, Instagram ads? And he told me right now, I'm sure you hear it all the time, he's boosting posts. And I say, what's your objective with it? And you can tell he sort of hesitates. He's not really clear on why he's running ads in the first place. So these business owners, they boost these ads or they promote their posts and they put some budget behind it, thinking it's just going to directly result in sales. Whereas they don't understand that like the main misconception, right, is they think Facebook doesn't work because their sort of perceived or their desired result isn't happening because essentially what they're doing is putting out an ad and just saying buy, 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 and then completely ignoring where their prospect or where the customer is in their journey. So, for example, if someone doesn't know your business, for example, why do you think they're going to purchase from you on the spot? It's like that whole dating metaphor. If you walk up to someone on the street for the first time and be like, "Will you marry me?" What are the chances they're going to say yes? It's probably going to be like next to nothing, right? So I think it's all about speaking to the prospect where they are in terms of their customer journey. Is it awareness? Is it consideration? Are they warm? Right? Like this is sort of the fundamental things that we look over. What was that?
I suppose retargeting comes into it there.
Right. So for example, your objective when you're first running ads online is to purely just to generate awareness, generate demand for your product. And you don't do that by, doing salesy sort of copy, salesy sort of ads. It's all about just entertaining, engaging them, educating them, through various pieces of content. And then that's when you'll nurture them to consideration, nurture them down to a stage where they'd consider your product or where they might essentially buy from you. And that's when you come in with the offers. That's where you come in with the free strategy calls or the free buy one, get one free pizzas. That's where you lead with value. And then you can start retargeting them based on how much they've interacted with your ads or your brand in a certain period of time.
So what does that actually look like, do you think? Like, for example, say you're trying to do what you say and you're trying to build brand awareness and then consideration and then ultimately conversion.
Yep.
Like, so do you ultimately have like simultaneous campaigns, like a brand awareness campaign and then like a month later for the same audience, you have is it a consideration campaign?
Yeah.
And like you just do it for the same audience, or I thought like you kind of do like a blog post or something, and then you have your Facebook pixel, and then you retarget it, so so you can actually show it to the people who have seen it.
Yeah. So this is why video ads are so great, because you can, compared to a blog post with video ads, you can measure based on intent. So what that looks like is if you ran a brand awareness video ad for, let's say, 14 to 30 days to a cold audience, and you're targeting, let's say, mothers aged 30, 35. You run that for 30 days. You can then set up another campaign based on the amount of viewership that the brand awareness video got. So let's say 50% people who viewed 50% of the video, show them the second video ad. Yeah.
You can retarget people who
based on the amount of videos, based on the amount of the video they've watched, which is why in terms of, which is why in terms of retargeting capabilities, video ads is probably the most, expansive in terms of retargeting.
Do you know if that's a new feature? Because I've always thought like Facebook should do that.
It's been around for a while. Really? No, it's definitely been around for a while. I'd say the last few years, definitely. Now, I guess a lot of more attention and more sort of light has been shed on it. But it's super powerful. Especially like, for example, you could do like a 3x3 video campaign where you do 3 videos in the awareness stage. So you do like a entertaining video, an educational video, and then an engagement video for the awareness stage. So you run that campaign for 30 days and you can test audience between those. And then for each video, you can set up a retargeting campaign. So let's say if someone watched that video more than 50% or 75% or 90%, what you're doing is just sort of filtering the amount of people who are more interested in the content you put out.
Yeah, great. So
Yeah.
I'm starting to see the virtues of video.
Yeah.
And so, but when you do an ad, there's obviously there's copy as well, right? So
Yep.
you have a video and you have copy. I was going to ask you about images, but
Yep.
like one with copy, like I've done like lots of courses on copywriting, and like I hear that AIDA is a good method. Like, so you get people's attention, interest, desire,
Yep. I've heard
and
this
get
one.
them to take action.
Yep.
So, like, often when I'm writing copy, like, it seems like getting their attention and their interest is kind of similar. So it's like a subtle thing. It takes some time to do it. But do you have any thoughts about like writing copy or anything?
Copy. My approach has always been how do, like, for example, there's a strategy called the baloney strategy. So for example, when you're trying to feed a dog medicine, they always reject it, right? They always push back. So what you want to do with advertising and for copy in general is you want to wrap that pill or that medicine in a piece of bologna or like
Yeah.
bacon or whatever, or like sugarcoating it, quote unquote,
What does
and
that
then
mean,
feeding
man?
that to the dog or the audience. So,
Yeah.
and that bologna is a story. So,
Ah,
right. So you want to, how I approach copywriting is I always try to approach it in the way that I'm telling, like an engaging story. And the best way to do that is try to, make it a bit personal, make it, find topics that are probably a bit out there or they garner curiosity. So, and like what you want to do is you also want to write in a way where you're sort of inviting the user into the story as well. You're making them the hero, not you. Like there's a book called Story Brand by Darren Miller.
oh yeah.
And he says that although it's counterintuitive, you want to be talking as if the reader is the hero and you're the guide. So
Yeah.
like a Yoda to a Luke Skywalker, whereas the reader is Luke Skywalker and you're Yoda, you're the guide.
Okay. I'll have
Yeah,
to read that.
and I've found that referencing pop culture into your copy as well as part of your like your story is really powerful as well.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's so relevant and people can relate to it. And also how I approach it is if I see something online or if I see, an article or a magazine in real life and that headline has sort of captured my attention and made me read it twice, I'll note that down in my head or I'll list it on my note. Because in terms of getting, headline ideas, it's all around us. Like if you walk through Coles and you walk through the aisles, you'll see all those Good Life, New Idea magazines. And you see all those headlines on those magazines. They spend like tens of millions on, copywriters to come up with these like magnetic headlines.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
draw inspiration from that. Even on Google, when you see those taboola ads come up, those banner ads where they say, the 7 sneaky ways you can, cut lower belly fat without having to eat healthy. Like these are sort of the headlines that make people click. So if you're trying to find ways or trying to find ideas for your Google ads or your AdWord campaigns, these are great ways to find them and they're free. All the ideas are all around us. So, yeah.
Yeah, that's great, man. I like the idea of stories. I know stories are really powerful. Like when you're telling a story, what's going on is your brains like sync up. So I've been trying to come up with like a little portfolio of stories I can tell myself.
Yeah.
I'm always doing like a lot of networking and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But, so what's that book called? Story Brand. Thanks for that.
Yeah. How to Build a Story Brand by I think Donald Miller or Darren Miller. I'll send you a link. But the thing is, like with any human communication, stories is what engages us. It's what connects us. Like think back to like
Paleolithic times.
Yeah, like back in history, what connected us was through stories. And the early sort of like the Holy Bible, how many stories are in that? And that's one of like the most like famous pieces of writing there is.
Yeah.
And it's all just a collection of stories. So if you can implement a few stories into your copy, I think it's definitely gonna help with your conversions. It's definitely gonna help with your engagement. And yeah,
Great.
something to look at.
Well, I'm trying to keep it about 20 minutes, so that's about 20 minutes. But thanks very much, Anthony. Is it ANG Media?
Yeah, ANG Media and AX Creative.
Great. Well, thanks very much for coming on, and I'll chat to you later.
No worries. Thanks for having me.